Hey guys, it's Aman
And Christina
from Our Rich Journey. Recently, the Wall Street Journal published an article about the new 60-year career. In this article, they go into great detail talking about how people are going to start to work for longer. Instead of the traditional 40-year career, people will now work a 60-year career. And instead of retiring in their 60s, people will now be retiring in their 80s. Now, when we saw this article, Christina and I almost fell out of our chairs because if you know our story, we are early retirees. We retired 20 to 25 years ahead of schedule. And so when we see articles like this that are starting to normalize the longer careers of people, it is very troubling. And in this article, they talk about some of the reasons why people are going to start to work longer. They talk about how people are living longer, how people are healthier, the jobs aren't as physical, and so therefore they can work until their 80s. And so on this video, we want to respond to this article with some specific points about why it is troubling that this trend is taking place.
So this isn't the first article that's come out that's suggesting that people's work life or their career is going to become longer. But there's this undertone that's related to this idea that people are not saving enough money in order to even reach retirement at the traditional age.
And so articles like this actually create an excuse for people not to start to become more intentional about their saving and investing. Because if they are now saying that you have 60 years to start planning for your retirement, how many people are going to start to procrastinate even more? Now, in this video, what we want to talk about though are some of the other risks associated with pushing this idea of the 60-year career beyond just the financial issues. And so the first issue is just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? Even though people are living longer, doesn't mean that that should equate to working longer. In our mind, that means that you should have more time to really savor life. So if you do retire at the traditional age and you're healthy and you're fit, that means you have more time to do more things that are unrelated to work.
So this leads to the second point of youthful experiences. And I think that this gets overlooked a lot of times when we're talking about this career expansion from 40 years to now 60 years. So with youthful experiences, we're talking about missed opportunities, experiences during our prime or those youthful years. Because the longer we work, the less time we have to experience things like vacations, spending time with our friends, and doing things during the most optimal time that we can do those things.
And this is something that we have experienced in our early retirement. You see, we retired before the age of 40, and we had three very special things going for us as early retirees. One is we had all the time in the world. Two is we have money to be able to use that time by having experiences. And three, and this has been the biggest blessing, is that we have our health. And so as a youthful person, you get to really live life to its fullest because you're optimizing your time, your money, and your health. The next issue with normalizing a 60-year career are the implications to Social Security. Now, hear me out on this, but imagine if people are starting to talk more about working longer. Wouldn't that also mean that Social Security benefits shouldn't be extended to people until later in their lives? Right now, people are eligible for Social Security in their 60s. But if you are still working in your 60s and the normal age for retirement becomes your 80s, that's when they'll update Social Security because that's when you'll be getting it, when you need it then. So we have to be really careful about normalizing this idea of people working for longer, that they're capable of doing this because the government will use this type of data and information to make changes to Social Security so that you get it later in life.
And the next issue is the rise of mental health challenges that can result in a prolonged work life. So burnout, mental health issues, relationship strains, these things already occur, but if you begin to extend people's work lives, it can be even more impacted as a result.
And this is such a real thing. People are working years and years, and over that period, they experience all of these emotional tolls. And so by extending the work life of someone, that means there are more opportunities for them to have these types of mental health issues.
The next issue is the impact on the next generation. If we are holding senior positions out for longer periods of time because people are working more, this can actually hamper people's upward mobility for that younger generation to begin taking on more productive and more senior roles in the workplace.
And there are actually huge implications to this because this can result in stagnation, a lack of innovation. People can just become discouraged because the idea of having to wait even longer to take on that senior position because the person in front of you isn't going anywhere soon, that can be very, very stifling.
And the last thing, which I think is really important, is that by extending someone's work career, you can also be changing or re-envisioning the way that we define success as a society. So people may begin thinking that you are more successful the longer you work. So if you work 6 years, look at all of that success that you can attain. And I think that can be very detrimental to people's thinking.
And in our mind, that is not how you should measure success. For us, success isn't how many years that you can withstand working in a cubicle. Success are the things that we have been able to achieve with our children, with our family, with our relationships, the places that we've seen, all of the things that we've done, the experiences that we've lived in life. And all of those things are not measured by how many years we spent at work. Work was just one aspect of our lives, but it shouldn't be the one that defines us. And so the issue that we have with an article like this is that when people look at their careers as taking up such a large portion of their life, that work ends up defining them. And people are much more than their work. You know, Christina and I, we talk a lot about financial independence and retiring early. But the root of our message has always been about freedom. And so maybe you want to work those 60 years, but we think that you should have the freedom to make that choice. And so we created this video to give you guys some food for thought, to counter the 60-year career trend that is being pushed right now. We want to give you guys balance. There has to be a balance between work and life. But hopefully there's more life than work. And so if you guys have liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and join the journey.